Before the A-levels, my childhood sweetheart fell for a troublemaker on the rugby team. She spent all her time with him, neglecting her studies and giving him her most precious gift. Unable to watch her throw her life away, I informed her parents. The situation escalated, and the rugby player was severely beaten by his father before disappearing without a trace. Years later, at our wedding reception, my childhood sweetheart received news of his death. In a fit of rage, she set fire to our new home. "You're the reason he's dead. It should have been him and me standing here. Go to hell and atone for your sins," she screamed. The raging flames illuminated her contorted face. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in sixth form. Ding! Story Shots reminds you to click the subscribe button at the bottom right corner to read the full novel. Please, my dear childhood sweetheart, help me out. Just tell a little white lie. All you need to do is tell my parents that we went to the library together. The voice gradually became clearer in my ear. I let out a scream and suddenly raised my head. The burning pain vanished in an instant, like a receding tide. Seeing the pretty face in front of me, I instinctively took a step back. Mia Johnson immediately became annoyed. "Jason Robinson, if you don't agree, that's fine, but why do you look so terrified?" "I'm not going to eat you." I stood there, dazed, suddenly realizing that I had been reborn. Seeing that something was off with me, Mia grabbed my wrist and shook it hard. "Jason Robinson, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me like that." The concern on her face didn't seem fake. But 10 years later, she set me on fire and killed me for Eric Harris. That was also a fact. Mia was my childhood sweetheart, living up to her name, as gentle and pure as moonlight. On the day of the high school opening ceremony, she stood on the stage in a white dress, her elegant figure gracefully playing the violin, capturing the hearts of countless young men in the audience below. Everyone called her the White Moonlight. She was like the moon, equally illuminating everyone, yet forever out of reach. And I was the envy of all the boys in school. Mia had a quiet and slow-to-warm-up personality, keeping everyone at arm's length. Of course, except for me. Our families were neighbors and visited each other frequently. When we were young, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson were busy with work and often left Mia in my family's care. Classmates would often joke, "You lucky dog, you got the girl next door. Don't forget to invite me to your wedding reception." I also thought I was different. I also thought this was our destiny. Until Eric Harris appeared. Eric was a sports student at our school, with a solitary personality and a notorious reputation. But he had a very handsome face. A face that only needed one glance to make Mia fall head over heels. Mia became obsessed with getting close to him. In my past life, unable to resist her pleas, I agreed to help her deceive her parents so she could hang out with Eric without worry. From then on, the name Eric frequently appeared in her conversations. I've never seen someone with such an inherent sense of brokenness before. He's really pitiful. He lost his mom when he was little, and his dad's an alcoholic. He's very insecure. He says I'm his only light, that I illuminate his world. Hearing such words, I couldn't help but feel a pang in my heart, yet I was helpless. Later, Mia gradually distanced herself from me and became inseparable from Eric. She started skipping classes and even gave up on her exams for him, until I saw this school-renowned goddess, with a satisfied expression, arm in arm with Eric, appearing at the door of a shabby motel. Finally, that night, when her parents asked about her whereabouts, I chose to tell the truth. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson were furious. They stormed into the school, causing a scene, and threatened to call the police. Eric's dad immediately flew into a rage, beating him with fists and kicks. No one could stop him. After that, Eric disappeared from our youth. Everything seemed to return to normal. Years later, Mia Johnson and I walked down the aisle. At our wedding reception, a former classmate from sixth form had too much to drink and laughed. "Do you remember Eric Harris? After he dropped out, he started working at a gentleman's club. He lived quite the extravagant life. Last month, he was killed by the husband of a wealthy older woman he was involved with. It even made the news." Look, Mia's face turned ashen. That night, taking advantage of my drunken state, she set fire to our marital home. It's all your fault he's dead. I could have saved him. We could have had a great future together, she screamed. I only married you because I was done playing around and needed someone to settle down with. Jason Robinson, you're nothing but a pathetic lapdog. Every day with you has been torture. Now, I'm finally free. Haha. Now, go to hell and atone for your sins. The raging flames illuminated her twisted face. I never imagined that because of Eric, she had harbored such resentment towards me for all these years. As her maniacal laughter filled the air, I lost consciousness. Perhaps the heavens heard my inner cry, for I was inexplicably given a chance to start over. This time, I won't make the same mistakes. Mia touched my forehead. Are you all right? I've been waiting so long I'm nearly frozen. I shook my head and, meeting her expectant gaze, slowly said, You should go hang out with Eric. From now on, I won't wait for you after evening study sessions. Mia frowned, somewhat surprised. Jason, why are you being so petty? It's not like you're my only friend. Eric is great, and if you got to know him, I'm sure you'd like him too. She thought I was just being sulky. I know you all see him as a troublemaker, but that's only because he comes from a broken home. That's why he's gone down the wrong path. I'm going to save him. In my previous life, she had approached Eric with the same mindset. But later, she said to me, Leave me alone. Eric is right. If we don't enjoy life now, when will we? When we're old and gray. Youth is meant to be lived to the fullest. Life's too short, so we might as well have fun while we can. When she gazed into the abyss gazed back. She couldn't save anyone. Instead, Eric corrupted her. This time, I chose to wish her well. Good luck then. I hope you succeed in saving him. Just then, Eric emerged from a nearby alley, walking towards us. His sinister eyes fixed on me, as if I had stolen something from him. He said to Mia, I'll walk you home. Mia ignored him, eyeing me suspiciously instead. Jason, what's wrong with you today? You're acting so strange. I remained silent, quickening my pace homeward. Behind me, Mia stomped her foot in frustration. Why are you being so passive-aggressive? If you don't want to wait for me, then don't. As if I care. You'll be begging to hang out with me soon enough. Nerd. I genuinely wished her well. In this life, let her pursue what she wants. I'll respect her choices. In my previous life, I had invested too much energy in Mia. The A-levels are like thousands of soldiers crossing a single log bridge. How could I afford to be distracted? In the end, I only got into a low-ranking Russell Group university. I could have done much better. Now, with less than 4 months until the A-levels, I must give it my all this time. Mia Johnson, however, took the initiative to approach me. Her appearance attracted everyone's attention. The oversized blue school uniform couldn't hide her beauty. Instead, it made her look even more youthful and vibrant. My desk mate nudged me with his elbow, winking suggestively. She's definitely here for you. Sure enough, Mia came straight to me and handed over a paper bag. My mom asked me to bring this for you. It's a local specialty she brought back from her business trip. Without looking up, I continued solving equations on my scratch paper. Just leave it there. Thank your mum for me. Mia didn't move. I looked up to see her frowning, her pretty brows knitted together. Jason Robinson, I carried this all the way here for you. How come you're not thanking me? I replied concisely, Thanks. She glared at me, seemingly wanting to say more, but eventually walked away. My desk mate advised, Did you two have a row? I was wondering why I haven't seen you walking together lately. TSK, the goddess is making the first move to patch things up. Don't be so stubborn. Give her a chance to save face. I flatly denied it. Nothing of the sort. Soon, the news of Mia coming to see me reached Eric Harris's ears. After PE class in the afternoon, a basketball suddenly struck the back of my head. I turned around to see Eric glowering at me. I challenge you to a fight. If I win, you'll stop pestering Mia. I said, Get your facts straight. I didn't want to waste words with him. I needed to get back to my revision. But he grew angry. Are you saying Mia's the one chasing after you? Don't think just because you grew up together, she'd fancy you. Take a good look at yourself. Mia would never like a loser like you. Loser is a grave insult to any man, especially to me who was mentally a mature adult. Eric threw a punch at me, taunting, "Come on, loser." My glasses flew off my nose, leaving my vision blurry. Eric's punches were quick and vicious, but I wasn't helpless either. When I was younger and sickly, my mum had me learn taekwondo. Eric lacked technique, relying solely on brute force. We traded blows, neither gaining the upper hand, until Mia's scream pierced the air, and she rushed forward to slap me across the face. My cheek stung fiercely. It was the first time in my life I'd been slapped. Mia had put all her strength into that slap. Her palm was red, and her arm was shaking. She angrily demanded, "Jason Robinson, are you mental? Why are you bullying Eric?" Her hateful glare made it seem like she wanted to tear me apart. Eric, on the other hand, received entirely different treatment. Mia carefully helped him up, her face full of concern. She stood on her tiptoes, gently blowing on his face. I had to admit they did make a perfect couple. Both attractive. Anyone who saw them would exclaim they were made for each other. Mia anxiously asked, "Does it hurt?" Eric just casually replied, "I'm used to it." This made Mia even more sympathetic. To get revenge for Eric, she deliberately crushed my fallen glasses under her foot, right in front of me. Those glasses were a gift from Mia. When she was 16, she won a violin competition and used the prize money to buy them for me. Mrs. Johnson had said that Mia spent ages choosing, repeatedly guessing which style I'd like and which would suit me best. "This little darling has never put so much thought into picking gifts for her dad and me," she had said. Mia's ears had turned red as she protested, "Mom, stop it." In the past, I cherished everything she gave me. In my previous life, I even kept these glasses, thinking I'd tell our love story to Mia and my child when they were born. Looking back now, it seems quite ridiculous. Mia Johnson pointed at my nose and shouted, "Jason Robinson, you're nothing but an absolute bastard, a monster without any empathy. I'm telling you, we're done. We're not friends anymore." Strangely, hearing these words didn't hurt me. I just found them annoying. I got up, brushing off the dust nonchalantly. "These glasses were a gift from you, so it's fine that you've broken them. I'll let this slap slide, as I don't like hitting girls, but next time, I won't be so generous. Tell your Eric to stay away from me. I'm busy and don't have time to play out your teenage angst drama." Eric Harris was just a hopeless case, and only Mia was naive enough to think she could save him during sixth form when we're all struggling to keep up. If she wanted to be his savior, fine. It had nothing to do with me anymore. Mia entered into a one-sided Cold War with me. She'd look away as soon as she saw me, treating me like I was invisible. It had always been like this since we were kids. Whenever I upset her, she wouldn't say a word to me until I apologized and made amends. I was happy for the peace and quiet, focusing even more on my revision. Soon the exams arrived. I prepared seriously and felt quite confident. After the exams, classmates gathered to discuss the answers excitedly. Someone suddenly said, "Did you know? Mia Johnson skipped the exam. No one saw her all afternoon. Their form tutor is looking everywhere for her." Mia had always been a popular figure in our school. Even though we weren't in the same class, I often heard news about her from other students. Once someone started, everyone began to discuss her enthusiastically. Finding it uninteresting, I packed up my things to go home for dinner. Halfway there, Eric Harris appeared before me with his arm around Mia. She had changed a lot. Her waist-length hair was cut short, her makeup was exaggerated, and she wore black lipstick. But undeniably, she was still beautiful. Eric boasted smugly, "She's willing to skip the exam for me. Would she do that for you, Jason Robinson? You're just a loser." I couldn't stand it anymore. "It's loser." Eric's face flashed with embarrassment. "I'll say it however I want. It's none of your business. Just keep being a bookworm." No girl will ever like you anyway. Does he think all girls are as shallow as him? Mia leaned into his arms, confessing deeply, Eric, now do you believe I love you the most? I can give up everything for you. Don't ever threaten to break up with me again. I can't live without you. Eric seemed genuinely touched. He held her hand, got down on one knee, and said, Mia, you're the light heaven sent me. Thank you for being willing to illuminate my life. I felt utterly speechless and walked away. Behind me, they embraced and kissed shamelessly, acting out a scene straight from a soap opera. Later, to cover up her lie, Mia deliberately injured her right hand, claiming she missed the exam due to a fractured wrist. Mrs. Johnson was frantic. What are we going to do? How will you study like this? The A-levels are just around the corner. Mia seemed unconcerned. Worst case, I'll retake the year. It's fine, Mum. I'm smart enough. Another year of study and I'll do even better. But Mrs. Johnson kept sighing, pleading with me. Jason, you're doing well in your studies. Could you please help Mia when you have time? The A-level results came out, and I made it into the top 10 of our year. In my previous life, my best performance had barely kept me hovering outside the top 10. My form tutor was clearly impressed, saying I might just be the dark horse of this year's cohort. Before I could respond, Mia Johnson blurted out, No way! I don't want him tutoring me. Mrs. Johnson looked a bit embarrassed and tried to explain on Mia's behalf. Well, it is the final year of sixth form. It might be better for Jason to focus on his own studies. My mum was heartbroken. She asked Mia with teary eyes if she was in pain. My mum had watched Mia grow up and had long considered her as a half-daughter. Mia, however, smiled brightly and said, Don't worry, Mrs. Robinson. I'm not in pain at all. Once the adults had left, she sneered at me. Don't think I'm pitiful. Love can numb the pain, and this little injury is nothing. You're just a bookworm. Don't get cocky just because my mum praised you. Stop coming to see me from now on. I don't want Eric to misunderstand. With that, she took the orange my mum had asked me to peel for her and tossed it straight into the bin. I won't eat anything from you. It's as disgusting as you are. I didn't take her words to heart. I was still basking in the joy of ranking in the top 10 of our year. If it weren't for my mum dragging me along, I wouldn't have come to see her at all. After her supposed right hand fracture, Mia became even more reckless, going out with Eric Harris every day. On Sunday, while my mum was busy in the kitchen, she suddenly said to me, Jason, go and invite Mia over for dinner. I was reluctant, but my mum frowned and complained, What's going on between you two now? Mia's got a broken hand, and both Mr. and Mrs. Johnson are away on business trips. The poor girl is all alone at home. Be a gentleman, son. Be more generous and accommodating. Come on. Go and invite Mia over. In my mum's eyes, Mia was still that sweet, sensible little girl who loved to cuddle up to her. I thought for a moment and decided to go out. I'd just take a quick walk around and come back, saying Mia wasn't home. Mia lived right next door to us. Ambiguous giggles could be heard from her house. As an adult, I knew exactly what was going on. I was about to turn back when the door suddenly flung open. Eric stood at the doorway, shirtless, with a post-coital cigarette dangling from his lips. The air was filled with an indescribable scent. 4 eyes. Enjoy your eavesdropping? You know you've got to pay for that, right? He sneered. Behind him, Mia was hurriedly buttoning up her shirt, her hair disheveled, cheeks flushed, with visible red marks on her neck. More shockingly, her right hand was perfectly fine. So it was all an act. There was no fracture at all. I just hadn't expected them to be so bold, doing such things while the house was empty. Eric shoved my shoulder, his eyes menacing. Keep staring and I'll gouge your eyes out. You stupid virgin. Mia came over and threatened me. Jason Robinson, don't you dare tell my parents, or I can't guarantee what Eric might do to you. Her lips were swollen and red, with visible bite marks. Deciding it was better to avoid trouble, I said, My mum asked you over for dinner. If you're not home, never mind. Eric smiled with satisfaction and kissed her. passing the cigarette smoke into her mouth. Before leaving, I threw out one last line. "Oh, and don't mess with me in the future. I might accidentally let something slip." Without Mia Johnson's disturbance, I made rapid progress. On the day after our A-level medical checkups, a piece of news caused quite a stir. Classmates were all gossiping. "Have you heard? During the checkup, they found out Mia Johnson is pregnant. She acts all pure and aloof. But behind the scenes, she's been Eric Harris's plaything all along. Haha." Just then, the class president came running, out of breath. "Jason Robinson, the form tutor wants to see you in the office." I was puzzled. Someone looked at me and teased. "No way, Mr. Brainiac? Were you involved too? You look so proper. But you're not such a good boy after all." I frowned and denied it. "Watch your mouth." He wasn't bothered. "What's the big deal? It's not like it's something to be ashamed of. That's the dream girl we're talking about. You hit the jackpot." I couldn't be bothered to respond and headed to the office. As soon as I left the classroom, I saw Mr. Johnson storming towards me, looking furious. I instinctively greeted him, but he kicked me to the ground. "Jason Robinson, you beast." Mr. Johnson was about to hit me again, but Mrs. Johnson held him back. My mum looked quite flustered. There must be some misunderstanding. Jason is usually very sensible. He would never do something like this. She then turned to me, urgently saying, "Jason, say something. Explain to Mr. Johnson what happened." Mia was standing behind them, her eyes red from crying, looking devastated. When she saw me looking at her, she gave me a challenging smile. She was afraid of hurting Eric, so she was pinning it on me. I got up and said word by word, "I didn't do it." Mr. Johnson got even angrier, his usually stern face now bright red. "You little bastard, you did it but don't dare admit it. I ought to beat you to death. I can't believe I was so wrong about you. I even treated you like my own son." My mum tried to stop him. "There must be a misunderstanding. Mr. Johnson, you've known Jason since he was little. You know what kind of person he is." Mr. Johnson roared. Would Mia lie about her own reputation to frame him? Mia started her act too, burying her face in Mrs. Johnson's arms, sobbing. "Jason Robinson, how could you do this to me? You were the one who coaxed me into doing that. This baby is yours." There were quite a few students in the corridor watching the commotion, pointing at me and whispering, "So it really was Jason Robinson. They were always close. Oh, my dream girl. How could you be so blind? They've probably been at it for ages. It's only been discovered now. You know how teenage boys are, all hormones and no sense. Jason Robinson looks all proper. But who knew he was like this behind closed doors? No sense of responsibility at all. What terrible character." With public opinion turning against me, Mia cried even louder, continuing to throw mud at me. "Jason Robinson, you tricked me. You even said you liked me. Now you don't even dare to admit it? Are you even a man? If I had known you were this kind of person, I would never have been with you no matter what." I remained calm and smirked. "Why don't we check the CCTV footage from the estate and see who you really brought home? Or better yet, we could call the police and have them investigate that little hotel behind the school. Was it me or Eric Harris who was seen there with you?" In an instant, Mia's face turned pale. Mia Johnson was desperate to protect Eric Harris, so she fabricated such a clumsy lie. It was full of holes. Indeed, playing with fools will lower one's IQ. Mia was the perfect example. Soon, the school called Eric's father in. Unlike in her previous life, this time Eric's father didn't beat him. Instead, he was beaming with joy, boasting in the office, "You lot just make sure my grandchild is born safe and sound." Mr. Johnson slammed his fist on the table. "Born? What born? They're both children." Eric's father chuckled. "Children can still have sex. Your daughter is so." Before he could finish, Mr. Johnson knocked him to the ground with a punch. Eric's father had a nasty temper to begin with, and Mr. Johnson was fuming. The two men immediately started brawling. All semblance of adult decorum was lost. The office descended into chaos. The headmaster and other leaders struggled to pull them apart. Eric's father spewed vulgar insults. Eric solemnly declared, "I will take responsibility for Mia." As soon as he said it, Mr. Johnson slapped him hard across the face. No one stopped him. They all thought Eric deserved it. Eric's father shrugged it off. "Go ahead and hit him. Once you've vented your anger, we can discuss my grandchild." Mr. Johnson's fist was about to fall again. But Mia rushed in front of Eric, tilting her chin defiantly. "Dad, if you want to hit someone, hit me. It wasn't just his fault. I was willing. I wanted it." Eric was moved to tears. He immediately knelt before Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. "Uncle, Auntie, please give us your blessing. We truly love each other." Mia knelt down too, crying pitifully. "Dad, Mom, only with Eric do I know what true happiness is. I really love him." At that moment, everyone became the villains trying to keep the star-crossed lovers apart. Only Eric's father looked smug. "I'm telling you, abortion is so harmful to the body. The kids are in love, so let's have the wedding now. They can get the marriage certificate later. Let them become parents early, finish life's big events early, so they can enjoy life sooner. It's great. How could young, inexperienced parents and a child raised in confusion ever enjoy life? Besides, the child isn't yours. You can control your daughter, but she should decide about her own baby, right?" Eric's father was always drunk and violent, but he certainly had a way with twisted logic. Mia was swayed by his words. "That's right, this is my child. He's a life too. What right do you have to deny him the chance to be born? I'm his mother. If I want to have him, he must be born." Mr. Johnson looked at her stubborn face and couldn't help but slap her. "How will you support him in the future? What about your own life?" Mia's cheek swelled up immediately. She practically screamed through her tears. "I don't care. I'm having this baby. I'm having it no matter what." After that, Mia never came back to school. But I could often hear arguments from next door. "He's not his father. Eric is different from his dad. I'm going to live with Eric, not his father. As long as Eric treats me well, that's enough." But even Eric himself couldn't escape the shadow of his dysfunctional family. And with her naive savior complex, what could she possibly change? Eric Harris started visiting frequently, although he was kicked out every time. On one occasion, Eric was chased out by Mia's father and even had a bucket of mop water thrown at him. Mia helped him up sympathetically, wiping away the water droplets with her sleeve. "Eric, are you all right? It's all my dad's fault. He's so stubborn. What's wrong with you? You're the best in my heart." I happened to be passing by their house after my evening study session and was caught in the crossfire once again. Mia looked at me angrily. "If it weren't for you, would we have ended up like this? What harm would it do for you to cover for Eric? My dad wouldn't give you a hard time. Jason Robinson, you're so selfish." She had the nerve to accuse me. I stared at her unreasonable expression, suddenly reminded of a time long, long ago. That time when I failed my exams, she comforted me for a long while. We lay side by side on the playing field, gazing at the stars in the night sky. She asked me, "Jason, what does your ideal future look like?" I thought for a moment and replied, "A house that can shelter me from wind and rain, a job that can support me and my family, and a loving partner who supports and cares for me." That night, her eyes were more beautiful than the starry sky. "Then I want to play the violin for the rest of my life. If you ever fall on hard times, I'll support you." Such a naive promise. The one who made it forgot, but I still remember. But that scene feels so distant now, as if it happened in a previous life. "Even if all of you oppose us, I will overcome all obstacles to be with Eric. I want to prove to all of you that we are right." Bang! I closed the door. Phew, the world was quiet again. After this incident, my parents became even more disapproving of their family. How dare they throw dirty water on my son? My son is so obedient and honest. How could he possibly do such a lowly thing? If I had raised such an unreasonable daughter, I would have disowned her immediately. Their words became a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the day Mr. Johnson took Mia to have an abortion, Eric's father stormed into the hospital in a frenzy, crying, shouting, and threatening suicide. He declared that if anyone dared to perform the abortion on Mia, he would jump off the building and die at the hospital. The doctors didn't dare to proceed, so the operation was suspended. For several days, Eric's father kept watch at the bottom of the building. Mia also used a hunger strike to force her parents to give in. Mr. Johnson was at his wits' end, trying to manage both work and family, failing at both. Mrs. Johnson spent her days sighing and crying. Not long after, Mia eloped with Eric. On the night they chose to elope, I was buried in my studies when I heard a commotion outside. I glanced out the window. The moon was bright, the stars were sparse, and the cicadas were chirping loudly. A penniless young man held hands with a brave young woman as they resolutely ran towards the distance. Sounded so romantic. Never mind, life would teach them a lesson. Some things are not as beautiful as they imagine. Without financial stability, no skills to rely on, and a child about to be born and in need of care, I couldn't even imagine how many difficult days awaited them. Even the sweetest lovers have to face the harsh realities of life. I later heard that, on the day of the elopement, Mia had given her parents sleeping pills to ensure their plan would succeed. Mrs. Johnson, who already had a heart condition, almost didn't wake up. Mr. Johnson gave up on Mia, declaring that he would disown her. Consider her dead. It's like I've been raising an ungrateful dog all these years. Mr. Johnson threw all of Mia's belongings out of the house. One day, as I was passing by the rubbish dump, I spotted that broken violin. Once upon a time, it had shone brilliantly on stage, cherished like a treasure. Now it lay lonely in a corner, dirty and damaged. I didn't linger, instead lifting my gaze to the morning sun as I continued on my way to school. Their shadows gradually faded from my youth. This farce had finally come to an end. Sunlight streamed through the window, time slipping by. That summer, I achieved my dream of getting into the University of Cambridge, becoming the dark horse of our year. Our form tutor's face was almost split with joy, praising me for making her proud. My parents threw a grand party, inviting many friends and relatives. All the younger cousins I hadn't seen in ages gathered around me, respectfully asking for advice. The adults told them, "Learn from your big brother, all right? Soak up some of his smarts." Amidst the bustling scene, Mrs. Johnson's eyes welled up. "If only Mia hadn't," Mr. Johnson snapped. "On such a joyous day, why bring up that unlucky business? She nearly ruined you, and you're still thinking of her." After Mia Johnson falsely accused me, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson apologized to me many times. This usually stern, middle-aged man bowed deeply before me, solemnly saying sorry. I felt he was quite unfortunate too, so I didn't pursue the matter and instead comforted him. Mr. Johnson looked at me for a long while. The man who had always been strong and upright seemed to age in an instant, his eyes silently turning red. Years later, I received a call from afar. "Jason Robinson." That familiar voice belonged to Mia Johnson. "Yes, it's me." Her voice was choked with tears. "Can you get in touch with my parents? Why has their number become disconnected?" I replied, "They don't want you to bother them anymore, so they changed their number." "How can that be? It's impossible. How can that?" The sound of a child crying came through the line, followed by Mia's uncontrollable sobs. On Christmas Eve that year, Mia knelt at the doorstep, a half-grown child behind her, crying hoarsely, "Dad, Mom, come and see your grandchild. Please, let me in. I know I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong." Even though her forehead was bleeding from kowtowing, the door before her remained shut. What she didn't know was that Mr. and Mrs. Johnson had already moved away. Mr. Johnson was a man who cared deeply about face. After such an incident, he couldn't pretend nothing had happened and stay. My mom also told me that Mrs. Johnson was pregnant. Selling this house meant she had finally emerged from the shadows, ready to nurture her second child properly. Everything had settled, and we were all moving forward. Only Mia remained trapped in that summer when she was 18. It had been years since I last saw Mia Johnson. I was on the phone by the street when I happened to witness an argument between two people. Is the child even mine? Why does he look more and more like your ex-boyfriend as he grows up? I don't have an ex-boyfriend. Stop lying. You must have had something going on with your childhood sweetheart. Don't think I don't know. Before the woman could defend herself, the man smashed the bottle he was holding. The loud crash drew the attention of passers-by. The woman was startled and began to tremble. Why was her reaction so intense? I soon found out why. The man slapped her across the face and then started punching and kicking her. The second child looks less and less like me. You're nothing but a slut. I can't even have a drink without you nagging. Mind your own bloody business. You whore. The woman protected her head, motionless as she endured his fury. Clearly, this was a frequent occurrence. I couldn't stand by any longer and stepped in to intervene. The man cursed. It's none of your damning business. Piss off. He picked up a chair, ready to smash it on the woman. I lost my temper too and grabbed a bottle nearby. If you want to fight, go to a boxing gym. She's your wife, not a punching bag. I'll call the police if you lay another hand on her. You lucky damn. You got away this time. Seeing my stance, the man spat out a few more threats before slinking away. The woman lay on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. I sighed and offered her a tissue. Constant submission only leads to escalating abuse. After leaving this piece of advice, I turned to leave. But then, a hesitant voice called out from behind. Jason Robinson? I turned back, somewhat surprised. She excitedly approached me, grabbing my arm. It's me. I'm Mia. Mia Johnson. We grew up together. That's when it dawned on me. Time had passed, and the once radiant girl had faded in my memory, leaving only a faint shadow. But that shadow bore little resemblance to the person before me. She had changed so much, her plump figure, her weathered face, her timid demeanor, all a far cry from the serene girl of the past. Mia sighed. You still look the same, hardly changed at all. She looked at her rough hands and let out a self-deprecating laugh. Unlike me. I asked, so that man just now, was he? I couldn't quite recall his name. Eric Harris, yes, that's him. As she said this, Mia's eyes dimmed, and a soft sigh escaped her lips. She smiled bitterly. He's no different from his father. These words were like a key unlocking memories, awakening scenes from our youth. I suddenly remembered how years ago, she had stubbornly and confidently declared, love can heal all wounds. Eric is Eric and his dad is his dad. Eric is different from his father. But what was different? Parents are a child's first teachers. The kind of parents one has shapes the kind of child one becomes. Children who don't receive proper guidance often have to spend a great deal of time and energy as adults to correct, change, and find their way back to the right path. But Eric clearly lacked this ability for self-correction. He had become exactly like the father he once despised. Mia covered her face, large tears sliding through her fingers. What kind of life have I been living all these years? How could I have chosen to go with him? I nearly got my mum killed. I was so foolish, so terribly foolish. She suddenly looked up at me, as if grasping at a final lifeline. Jason, I regret it. I truly regret it. Is there still a chance for us? Could you possibly? Her words trailed off abruptly as she caught sight of my wife behind me. My wife had just finished shopping, carrying a bag in one hand while affectionately linking her arm through mine with the other. She smiled and asked, Is this your friend? I replied, Yes, an old classmate. She extended her hand towards Mia. Mia seemed a bit flustered, hesitating for a moment before finally shaking her hand. After the greeting, my wife adjusted my collar and said softly, Take your time chatting, Jason. I'll wait for you in the car. Mia felt uneasy. She clearly heard what I said. I countered, Isn't mutual trust essential between partners? Mia stood there, stunned, as if struck by lightning. After a long pause, she finally spoke, her voice hoarse. I had a very long dream. In it, I didn't leave with Eric. I got into a decent university, graduated smoothly, and started working. People came into my life and people left. But after all the twists and turns, you and I still met. She didn't continue. A nearby shop was playing music. I fell in love with someone who made me reckless. I thought this was the world I was seeking. Yet charging ahead, misunderstood and deceived. Is there always a flaw behind the adult world? The lyrics were unexpectedly fitting. Flowers may bloom again, but youth never returns. When she was younger, she had so many chances to correct her choices. But she didn't. As time passed, here we are now. The lessons that neither her parents nor books taught her, life eventually did. Mia, you chose your own path. You can't blame anyone else. I can't help you, but the law can. I didn't want to say much more to her, just offering sincere wishes as I did many years ago. Good luck. I should go now, my wife is waiting for me. Mia remained silent for a long while. A moment later, she caught up with me. Her voice choked with tears. The person standing by your side should have been me, right? If only life could start over. Then I paused, interrupting her. Maybe it really can, but you can't live clinging to such fanciful notions. You need to look forward. Go live the life you want. Strive, transform, be reborn, and welcome the future that belongs to you. Compared to other options, education is a more stable path with lower risks. But she chose indulgence at the age when she should have been working hard, making the road ahead inevitably more difficult than her peers. But that's okay. It's never too late to decide to change.